In a stunning speech on New Year's Day 2015, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi denounced killing and destruction done in the name of Islam and the clerics who support it. He believed it was time for a revolution in his religion. Those are brave words from a leader in a region where radicals abound. I spoke to el-Sisi to find out what steps he believes are needed for his country, for Muslims, and for the world.
They said a religious revolution, and it is not a revolution against religion. On the contrary, it is a revolution to support and reinstate the right meaning of religion. We are fighting all the misconceptions that created extreme ideologies, which by turn created terrorism that is threatening the whole world.
That is a bold stand. What has been the reaction you've received since you gave that speech and you continue to talk about this revolution inside Islam?
Muslims have to stand up and correct this misinterpretation and deformed picture of what Islam is. As for the reaction of the extremists, of course, they will not be happy. And for them, I am a disagreeable person, but I am doing this for humanity and for history, and religion itself, God, will hold me accountable for all I'm doing.
Mr. President, in recent days you've met with the King of Jordan, the King of Saudi Arabia, about possibly forming this joint Arab force, this coalition, this alliance to counter ISIS. What is at stake for your country and the region?
We have to admit that terrorism is now a major threat, not only to Egypt or even the immediate region, but it is a threat to the stability and security of the whole world.
What do you need to make that Arab force, that united Arab coalition, a reality? And do you think it would be more effective in this fight than a U.S.-led coalition?
There is no conflict between the aim of this Arab coalition and the international role led by the United States. As a matter of fact, our role here will be a part and parcel of the whole international coalition in order to counter this danger.
I sense, though, the U.S. stopped supplying military weapons and equipment after June 2013, or at least stopped for a while, and then it slowed.
30 June 2013 till now is a long time, more than a year and a half now. We thought that the United States would take time to understand what really happened in Egypt, but they need really to understand that it was and has been the will of the Egyptians for change.
You wrote your dissertation on democracy in the Muslim world when you were at the Army War College in the U.S. Is Islam compatible with democracy?
This is a very good question. And allow me to say to you that real Islam gives complete freedom to the human being to choose not only the person who is going to rule the country, but the freedom to believe in God in the first place or not to believe in God in the first place. And I'm saying this to the people who believe that they have to impose their religious perspective on others by force. I'm saying that God has endowed man with the gift of free choice. This means an absolute freedom, an absolute liberty of choice. God created us different from each other. If God wanted us the same people, looking alike and having the same religion and the same language, He would have created us alike.
How do you and how do America's other Arab allies view U.S. leadership in the region now?
Difficult questions.
That got the English response.
With might comes responsibility. With power comes responsibility. And the United States has a lot of might, and that is why its responsibility is huge toward the whole world, toward humankind.
I mean, we've heard people say in the Middle East and North Africa that America's friends no longer feel they can really depend on the U.S. and America's adversaries no longer fear the U.S. Is that fair?
الرأي العام
Opinion here feels a lot of threats and is really worried. And the public opinion wants to see a big response from capable countries, countries that are able to provide assistance. For example, the suspending of the equipment, of the US equipment and arms was a negative indication to the public opinion that the United States is not standing by the Egyptians while they are in the midst of a ferocious war here against terrorism.
We have seen Iran expand its power. Now they are fighting on the ground in Iraq against ISIS. Are you concerned about Iran taking that active role, or do you welcome it?
The Arab countries are supposed to defend their interest. We used to have this role before, and the Arab countries were capable of doing that, and we are capable of restoring our capabilities one more time and do it together.
For now, the world waits to see what America will do next. But ISIS won't wait. And if America doesn't act boldly, it's likely others in the world will step in as well. As a reminder of what this is all about, a postscript. Earlier this year, Dakil, who'd lost his family, was reunited with his wife and 3 of his children.
My wife was taken from Tel Afar to Raqqa. She escaped over a fence and got to the mountaintop. She found a shepherd who gave her shelter for 2 days in his house and helped her to escape.
But 8 of his children and sister Nasaf were still in ISIS captivity. Then, on January 9th, a little hope.
She called me and said that she had escaped from the village.
Dakil headed to the Syrian border and spent 10 hours waiting. Finally, deliverance.
We've been through many tortures.
I was afraid they wouldn't let you cross. I thought they'd keep you there.
Those ISIS members who came to Iraq took all the Yazidis and Christian girls to have sex with them. I did whatever they wanted except sex. If a girl refused sex, they would rape her.
It's a tearful reunion as they return to the refugee camp. But Dakil and wife Goulet cannot rest until they're reunited with all of their children.
I wish I were dead and they were here at least with their father. I prefer my death to them being there with ISIS. There is no normal life for me.
Some, such as President Obama a year ago, compare ISIS to amateurs, a ragtag bunch who, if anything, would love to draw us into war. Others compare them to the Nazis in their early days, a dangerous, single-minded force that should be dealt with before they get even more destructive. Time will tell which view is closer to reality, but this much we know for sure. The carnage is real and will continue if unchecked. And as the world watches with revulsion, every country, indeed every person, will have to ask when enough is really enough. That's our